was on crack.
Hey, what's up, y'all boys? Welcome to another episode of the Dope Dads Podcast. I'm your host, Nate Allen.
I am the co-host, K Striggs.
And we are two comics, and the thing that we share in comic is the both of us have fathers who are addicted to drugs. Should I say crack? Or I think...
Well, my dad says dope, so
your dad says dope?
I don't clarify it to one entity, you know. So dope is just dope. We just don't.
We're not 60, so we can just call it. Both of our dads are addicted to drugs, and instead of going to therapy, we decided to start a podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dope Dads Podcast. And today we have a very, very special guest. I had the privilege of opening up for this gentleman at the Whitson in Charleston, South Carolina. He's touring all around. I know I just told you to be quiet, but you were just in Canada, right?
You didn't say be quiet. You told me to keep my fucking mouth shut.
I like him.
I didn't say fucking. I didn't say fucking.
Where was I? I was in Calgary, Alberta.
Calgary. This guy tours all around. He's an amazing comic. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for my good friend, Deric Cahill.
Thank you for having me, guys.
You so
you guys both still have your dads?
Yeah. I'm sorry. Say that one more time.
You guys still have dads?
They hanging on, but they do exist.
I just talked to mine today. So.
I also talked to mine yesterday. It was for the first time in like 2 years, but I talked to him. I sure did.
Oh, must be fucking nice, dude.
All right. Yes. Don't worry. You'll get to say your whole spiel. Just chill for a second. All right, first of all,
it's still our day.
He's making Nate feel better.
Yeah, and that's right. That's right. Happy Juneteenth, Deric.
I know. What an honor.
What are you doing to celebrate this day, this special day today?
I'm gonna go look at a new truck.
Black-owned truck.
Dude, I'm gonna watch the World Cup. I don't know. That's close.
I mean, some of us like that. That's not.
I mean,
little black guys podcast, and they showed up late, ceremoniously.
I mean, we were setting up stuff.
Dude, it's Juneteenth. We can't be. There's a bunch of stuff we're letting slide.
Okay. Well, all right. So how we're gonna start this off is I guess we start off just a little bit like knowing who you are. I don't think I had a lot of time I think we had a pretty good conversation the last time we saw each other, but just real quick, just so people can get like kind of familiar with you. How'd you start off with stand-up, man?
I worked server at a comedy club. Then I think it was in Naples, Florida. So I got to see like some of the greats come through and do comedy. Jim Brewer, Ralphie May, Lonnie Love, John Lovitz, a bunch of just D.L. Hughley came through, just like all like the best dudes you've ever seen in comedy. And I did my first open mic one night there, like whatever that was, 15, 16 years ago now.
Mm-hmm. And how did that go?
I ate a bucket of shit.
Very, very great story, man.
I have the video. I have the video of it.
Oh, we'll clip that into it if that's something you're comfortable with us showing. We can clip that into it. How younger did? I'm sorry, not to. How much different did you look?
Very.
Naples, Florida. Oh, so you were born and raised in Naples, Florida?
Yeah, it was. Well, no, I was born. Sorry, I was trying to make sure I was on Wi-Fi.
No, you're good.
I was born in Boston, so I lived in Boston until I was like 16, and then my parents moved to. They didn't think OxyContin existed in Florida. I don't think so. They moved to Florida.
Oh, it does.
It was still down there. I think it was more down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's by the water. More. Yeah. It's always imported.
Yeah.
Easier.
Oh, yeah. My co-host, while I thought he was from Savannah this entire time, he is from Florida. He likes to be specific about it. What part of Florida?
South Florida, Broward County, 954. Very proud of it. Come on, man. Shout out.
In your time in Naples, do these people like separate themselves in the Florida area?
Do what? What kind of people?
Like, do people? Ooh, I don't like how you said that.
What kind of people?
I mean, because usually when I ask people what part of Florida they're from, they give that answer and say, I'm from this specific part, and the rest of Florida is not really Florida. Does that happen a lot in conversations?
I think Southwest Florida is like rich white people, like old people that move there because they like the weather.
Okay.
There's no culture in Southwest Florida other than that.
Okay.
So how it breaks down in Florida, we respect South Florida, so that's a tri-county, Dade, Broward, and West Palm Beach. We give respect to Orlando, and we sprinkle some love up in Jacksonville area. Now, not saying the other cities aren't relevant, but we, from South Florida's perspective, we give little love here and there. But you know, we take pride in South Florida. But yeah, Southwest, rich old whites, no culture probably, but definitely got the finances. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I don't claim Florida at all, so that's okay.
Oh, at the beginning of this, I texted him and I was like, "Hey, is there any credits you want me to read off?" You said the most attractive white dude that I've ever worked with, and brother, I really wanted to say that so bad. However, I opened up for Rocky Dale Davis once, and that's a good looking white man. That's a good.
You're right. I only wanted you to say it if you meant it.
Okay, so to start off, you have I wanted to stop you from saying more of your story because you have a unique situation. While usually the people that we bring on here, they usually have one parent that they had to go through addiction with and then maybe have a stable parent to lean on. You have a very specific story where both of your parents fell to drug addiction. Before you tell us how everything ended, can we start from the beginning of like how did you grow up and when exactly was your first experience even realizing that your parents may have had a problem?
Oh, dude. So all of it. I think I have a really. My story's crazy because like there was a window of my life where they kind of got their shit together, but outside of that, it was just a tornado. Like I remember one of my earliest memories is I was maybe like 5, and my dad picked up a Christmas tree and slammed it through a glass table. So like early childhood, it was all just he was a super bad alcoholic. My mom had some like mental health problems, but when I was like 8. They kind of got their shit together. They bought a house. My mom was working at the courthouse. My dad had started his own HVAC company. So for like 3 years, it was like, oh, fuck, like we might do this thing. But then my mom, when I was like 12 maybe, got into a car accident and it triggered what they said a disease called fibromyalgia, which is like a muscle. It's kind of like MS, I think. Like it just fucks with your muscles and stuff. Mm-hmm. She was in bed for a year, like did not get out of bed for a year. And that was right when OxyContin was getting like released into the wild. It was like 1998, 1999. And my dad was a drug addict, you know, but like, you know, normal drugs like cocaine and stuff like that's what he would fuck with. OxyContin.
No, for sure. Yeah,
you really are from Florida.
You know, like,
you really are. Like regular shit.
Growing up in Boston, it's like, oh, your dad does a little cocaine? Yeah, mine too. But OxyContin, that shit, dude, like, that it literally never let them go. Uh-huh. So when I was like a 12, 13 freshman in high school, they were like, they just didn't get up. They wouldn't get up off the couch. They passed out eating and it just never got any better. So from like 13 on, more or less like raised myself.
That sounds like an indica. Yeah, I was just going to say that's it. What, so how did that, I would say, how did that like look on a daily basis outside, like in terms of where you were? Because I know like my dad's, I saw what crack cocaine did to him, even though we weren't in-house. I saw his movements and everything. How were their like movements and what did you like see like Like what were their movements like your daily life looking at and watching like on Oxy?
A lot of fights of who stole my pills. One or the other would go get a prescription filled or go get. My mom would be like, fucking Roy, where's my pills? And vice versa. Mary, you fucking cunt, where's my pills? And these big fights, dude. And just the cops got called a bunch of times over that. I remember I was like, I think 15 or 16. They both got arrested, and we had this Cadillac that someone had tried to break into, so we had to start it with a screwdriver. And I didn't have a license. I got in that, drove my sister and her boyfriend to the police station illegally to try to see if we could get them out of jail. It was just a lot of that. I have one really vivid memory of my dad sitting on the couch eating like a bowl of cereal or something, and mid-bite, just not being there anymore, just passed out with a spoon hovering in front of his face. So it was just that. It was just a lot of it was like living with ghosts, I think would be a good way to describe it.
No, that's deep. So when they used to get into all these fights, I'm sorry to go into detail, but did your father actually hit your mother? Was he abusive towards her?
I mean, not crazy. It wasn't ever fucking beating the shit out of anybody, but there was, physical, emotional abuse for sure. They would just take turns gaslighting each other, dude. My mom would go a week and maybe would not do as much drugs as him and be like, I've got my shit together. Roy, you need to get better with your life. And then 3 weeks later, it would be my dad. He'd be like, wow, we really need to get your mother some help. It's like, you fucking both are idiots.
Did you ever tell them that? Were there any pleading with you hey, y'all need to get better? Where you said your younger sister. How old is your sister? what's the age difference between you and her?
She's a year younger than me, but just for the purposes of this, I don't want to talk about my siblings because they're I have an amplified voice, so I don't want to bring them into this. I just want to talk about me and.
I guess I wasn't trying to go into them, but I guess how am I trying to frame this question? Was there a time that you specifically, just you, what were the conversations were there ever a moment of clarity with your parents where you expressed your feelings about wanting them to change? Did y'all ever have conversations like that?
So when you say that, and I don't know how you guys, if you guys grew up with one parent that was maybe sturdy in your life, a lighthouse that maybe gave you the opportunity to think analytically like that.
Yeah.
Growing up in a house with two parents that were just really gone, it was really lonely. There wasn't ever anything being able to bring up hey guys, you really got to get your shit together. I was just afraid all the time because it was just, no one was predictable. One of the earliest times I remember trying to, and the only time I ever tried to flex, I guess, was I was maybe 16. We had just moved to Florida. My mom was working at what fucking it was a Target, but it wasn't. I don't remember what the name of the chain store was. But she needed to get picked up, and my dad was hammered drunk. So I was like, I'll go get mom. And he just grabbed me by the throat and slammed me against the wall, and just screamed at me that he was the king of the house. Mm-hmm. And then he went to get mom. So that was that was the life I grew up with. There was no mom, dad, let's have a talk about the life that you're living. It was kind of just survive, And if I'm being honest, brother, I really just started unpacking some of this shit in the last couple of years in therapy. Yeah. Just some of the ways that I live my life have been rooted in growing up, just so unstable and scared.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you, because you've mentioned the 15, 16 age a few times. Would you say that teenage phase, was that the high school phase, was that the hardest time, or middle school? What would you have to say you had the toughest battles that age range?
When I guess when I think back, I don't really remember any period necessarily being the hardest battle. Mm-hmm. It's just in retrospect, it was all just so painful as a kid to go, like, especially now that I have 3 kids and I can see how easy it is to just love your kids and prioritize your kids. That's the part that fucks with me the most, because it's like, I'd water it down, but it's like they just didn't pick us. They picked their vices and the shit that they didn't want to get better at. So it was mostly just all of it. So by the time I was 16, 17, I had gone a few years in those like really developmental ages of like, I'm alone. So it became normal for me to just be alone and not have anybody. It never felt hard because I didn't know what good even looked like, you know?
Was there, because that with both parents, that just feels like a trap situation. Was there ever any adult in your life that you could go to at all, or just nobody there?
You know, that was the other part of this life, is that my mom and dad, they didn't just like one day, there was a couple of documentaries that came out about the opium epidemic and stuff with OxyContin. And a lot of like normal-ish families became victims to it. Like a guy that was just a really hard worker, hurt his back, got OxyContin, never was able to get off of it. My parents were both kind of always somewhere fucked up, you know? So my mom and my dad were both like the black sheep of their own family. So I didn't really have any bubbles of connection, you know? Like I had aunts and uncles, but they hated my mom and my dad. And my mom and my dad would steal from my nanas and shit. So it's like no one really wanted to be a part of our lives, which like I don't necessarily fault them for it. But no, dude, like no one ever was like, we need to rescue those kids. But also, I don't know if anyone really knew how bad it was.
Yeah, I was thinking about you going to school and all of that. This was happening ever since you were like 8 years old, correct? It's been happening for a long time. All right.
Well, I would say before I was like 11 or 12, it was kind of just your normal dysfunctional family. Like, my dad was a really bad alcoholic.
Right.
Yeah, like really bad alcoholic. They'd get into fights, but like, I don't know, maybe that was normal.
You know what's crazy? I'm so sorry to cut you off. I think because your life, sitting here next to Striggs, his father is more of a functional drug. His father has his own landscaping business, and I went through a lot of fights. Me and my sisters got into a lot of fights with my dad. The police was called several times. There was times he tried to actually break into the house and was actually successful at breaking into the house. Most of the time he just stole food and some of my mom's jewelry. But I remember the fights and everything. It's crazy how you can grow up in a house full of trauma and kind of normalize certain things. Yeah. Because even listening to you talk about family fighting, it doesn't sound that crazy to me. But a person who grew up in like a functional house, that just sounds insane, even to have one little fallout. But yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What was I even saying?
Oh, you were talking about just you before the age of 11 when it wasn't that bad. When it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, no, like it was scary, you know, like it was aggressive, but like it just, in retrospect, fuck, I'd take that 9 times out of the 10 as a way to grow up. Yeah. It was when they completely like went off the deep end, like no coming back, was like probably 12. Like I was going into my freshman year of high school, and it's actually kind of crazy that no one ever came to check, because like my freshman year of high school, I think I missed like 100 days of school, and no one ever came and was like, hey, is everything okay?
Yeah. Ooh.
It's crazy because I teach, so missing that much school for any child is detrimental, you know, just for developing in this phase and in that, you know, space of where you were growing into, you know, the man you are today. Have you ever dabbled in any, you know, drugs per se, or you kind of stayed clear because of what you witnessed with your parents or anything?
Yeah, I stayed really clear of it. Even not to, but in Charleston, I can or can't.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. What were you saying? Go ahead. You said you stayed clear.
In Charleston, someone gave me some little like microdose mushroom pills. I flushed them down the toilet. I couldn't even take them. Because it's like, yeah, there's one side of me that's a little bit interested in like, well, I wonder what that would do or feel like. But no, dude, I've always been like very steer cleary of. I did cocaine one time when I was like 23, and I hated it. It made me feel like I had to take a shit and I couldn't sleep. I was like, I'm not gonna do this ever again. But I never did any pills. The only thing I've done is smoke weed.
Yeah. Now my brother's the same way. My brother and my aunt, they have never did alcohol, weed, any. Like he's he Tylenol every now and again, but just from seeing it and normalizing it. It's crazy. Like he said, when hearing it, it doesn't sound crazy, but to somebody who's never seen drugs or have two good communicating parents, they're like, it's a 180. So it's definitely perspectives for sure.
Yeah. And those
I remember one time.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I was just going to say there was one time, I think, 16, 17, my mom and dad got into a fight. My dad asked me for a ride somewhere. And I'm driving him. He was
just like, no, you the king. You drive your fucking self, right? You drive your goddamn self. Go ahead.
He reached into his pocket and pulled out like a bunch of crack rocks, maybe, I don't know, and just in his hand, just a bunch of just snorted it. And I was like, what the fuck? I didn't say anything. I just in my head was like, what the actual fuck is going on right now? Mm-hmm. So he was off the fucking deep end. Dude, it was just nuts, the kind of shit that would go on.
How the rest of that car ride went?
I honestly don't even remember. I remember I don't know if it was the same one or a different one, but he went to the gas station, got a bottle of Mad Dog 2020 and just chugged it.
Ooh, yeah, that was real.
Have you ever seen your dad like do drugs?
I have this vague memory because Deric, my dad, at one point we had to kick him out of the house after he tried to steal a bunch of my mom's cassette tapes. So he lived in the hallway of our apartment. There was one time I remember he had some dirty tan pants on and like a dingy tank top. Mm-hmm. And I remember seeing in the palm of his hand like a pink or tannish pill or something like that. And that's the closest I've ever seen my dad to doing any kind of hard drugs or anything like that. The thing is, when I have conversations with my dad, I try to ask him about his drug usage. Most of the time, he lies to me and says he was just doing coke, which may be true, but I have heard my mother say he is doing harder stuff, and I could just look at him, and I don't know if my dad tries to impress me, because I was just telling Streaks, I just got my dad's number like 3 weeks ago, just talked to him for the very first time, in 2 years. When we have conversations, I try to get him to open up, and I constantly say things like, hey, I'm just asking these questions not to judge you or to shame you or anything like that. And he lets his guard down a little bit, but I don't feel like he actually wants to tell me all of the shit that he was actually doing and how bad things actually got. Yeah. I asked my dad a question because he didn't call me. I had to call him. He got into a homeless shelter through the Salvation Army, so he's staying in the place right now. He's had a phone for 3 weeks, and I was like, hey, were you planning on calling me? And he was like, yeah, I was. Not at all. I had no faith this man was actually going to call me at all. And I asked him, hey, do you think I have a reason to be mad at you? And he said, no, I don't know why you would be mad at me. As if all of the things that happened in the past never happened. Yeah. And then I was like, hey, you remember the fights? You remember the drugs, the police being called? And he was like, oh, yeah, I guess I never thought about it like that. And it was like, you never thought about any of this. This is the eye-opening information for you. But I lost my train of thought for a second. Where was I going with that? Anyway.
You've asked your dad about his drug use, was kind of how you started.
That's right. But anyway, he won't be completely honest. He'll try to downplay it and try to make it seem like it's not as bad. So
yeah. Well, dude, I think that you said the word. I think that there is just a deep amount of shame that comes with this. Like even my mom and my dad, like everything you just said, that, you know, I experienced with them as well. I never quite asked them like, hey, what drugs? Because we never, after like 16, 17, I never really had another meaningful conversation with them again. But it was the same thing, just denial. Like, oh, you know, you ended up okay was a big piece of it. But I think it's just rooted in shame. Like, because unless you're just a fucking psychopath, like how could you look back at a life you gave your kids and not have regret at the choices that you made? So to be confronted, even from like, you're a super sweet dude. Like I can imagine the conversations you're trying to have with your dad. It's just going to be so shameful to look at a grown man that's doing better than he is and admitting, yeah, dude, I'm just a fucking drug addict. Like that's going to be so embarrassing and hurtful, where it's easier to just live in denial.
Were you, and I know we talked about this earlier in the pod, were your mom and dad, were they the only two outside of the family, brothers and sisters, that went on that path, or were there other aunts and uncles or down the line, or was it just those two on both sides? They were the ones that kind of went down that path of drug and abuse and stuff.
I had an aunt, my dad. So my dad, his dad, my pa, was, I guess, a fucking piece of shit. Like just horrifically abusive.
Yeah.
So I had an aunt who was a drug addict, but she died of AIDS when I was like 8.
Wow.
She was like an intravenous heroin user, home. But outside of that, I would say there's some run of the mill, you know, alcoholism, but nothing like my parents. And my parents were the only ones that had kids and experienced stuff like this.
Okay.
And are they still, and if I'm not asking, are the parents still alive, or are they still, or?
No, they both actually died
sorry.
of drugs. Yeah, they both died of overdoses. My mom died in 2015, and then my dad died a year later.
Sorry to hear that. Yeah.
But also, don't we those shrooms that we were given in Charleston? I took all of them. Don't worry, you didn't miss a thing, buddy. You made a good choice to throw them away. I'm very proud of you. If you're not comfortable talking about this next thing, we'll move on. What was the day like when you got the call your mother passed, or what was happening that day?
I like this podcast a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's I've had this heavy feeling on my chest the whole time, but not in a bad way, because I like talking about it, because I think it's good to normalize for kids that come out of shit like this, that like you can end up being okay.
Yeah, that's the premise of this podcast. Thank you, man. You explained that way better than we ever have. Every single episode, we go over the origin of how we started this podcast. We always go through this long rambling jokes and shit. You just cut right to it. Good job, buddy. This is how you do those. He does a lot of home improvement videos, and he keeps them down to at least like 2 minutes. That was a good job, man.
I like it.
That was hard, man.
Cut the screw.
Hell yeah. So it was a little. Oh, dude, it's actually. I'm gonna try not to cry. But a lot of trauma came up. Yeah. My therapist would be really proud of me for crying outside of meetings with him. So it's funny, man, because like I was so disconnected from the emotional side of how I grew up. Like I took a lot of the experiences that I had, and it's like I put them in a little box and used it as a tool to fuel my success. And at a certain point, if I thought about like young little Deric, it didn't even feel like a real person. It felt like a story that I'd made up to work hard to get away from a life like that. So a lot of fucked up things have come up for me in the last couple of years of just like reconnecting with the way that stuff felt to me. But when my mom died, I remember getting ready. It was 2015. I remember getting ready. I was going to I flew to Boston for her funeral, and I was so excited to show that side of the family that I wasn't my mom and my dad. Like that I wasn't a piece of shit. I wasn't a drug addict. I was doing okay. And, you know, years later, you know, whether just working through myself and with therapy, it's like I was so hungry for acceptance. And that's what fueled a lot of like the negative behaviors in my life was I just wanted people to like care about me, you know? And now it's like, yo, fuck you, brother. Like, you know, like I don't need to earn your love. Like I either have it or I didn't have it. And now I feel a lot better. But when my mom died, it took me a few days to even kind of like come to terms with it because I hadn't spoken to her in years. Mm-hmm. And I had one cry, you know, I had one cry, and that was kind of it. Even like the ashes that I got delivered of them, I didn't even know what to do with them. I kept them in my attic for like 9 years, just in the shipping box that they came in, just up in my attic. Cause I was like, I don't know what the fuck to do with these guys.
No, that's fair. So when your mom passed away, you said your dad passed away a year later. When she passed, did it make you want to talk to your dad, or did it do nothing to spark that emotion?
It did nothing. Yeah. Which sounds, I don't know how that sounds, but it didn't. So that point in my life, I had 2015. Did I have Ophelia when my dad died? Ophelia is my 9-year-old daughter. I know I had Landon. He's 16 and a half now. And I had been dating my now wife for 2 years. This was the point in my life where I was like at the very beginning of getting my shit together, like just getting better and building a life. And the way I looked at my mom and my dad was like, over my dead fucking body will I let you infiltrate this safe family that I have built for myself. Like there's no motherfucking way in hell I'm gonna let you breach the doors of my home and give that poison to my kids and my wife, because they didn't change. Like if they had made any efforts to improve themselves, sure, but they were still doing drugs, they were still getting high. And it's like I in that moment was full speed sprinting away from the both of them. So when my mom died, it didn't do anything for me. Like that I'm sure it's like mortality. It's like, oh, my mom died. Oh my God, my dad might be an ex. I was still very much like, get better or go fuck yourself. To be, you know, like, I guess crass with it. It wasn't necessarily the sentence in my head, but that's the feeling that I had.
Yeah. I think even you keeping them in the attic for 9 years, even you not having any feelings, I think all that is a very normal response. Cause I think you're the second person we've had on here where both parents were going through that. I have no idea even if I would be where I'm at right now, or even be like the small amount of level-headedness that I have right now. That sounds like a fucking nightmare, both of them being in that way. I kind of feel what you're saying at that point when you're saying you didn't have any feeling towards them because you were getting your life together. The thing, I'm talking to my dad right now, and I'm going into it, I don't have any hope that I'm going to have a working relationship with him at all. I just want some kind of understanding, and I just want to know this person. I don't think I'm going to get absolutely anything from him. And the reason why I'm not interested in having him in my life is because I don't know if he's actually doing anything for himself. I don't know if he is still doing drugs, and it's not like I can call him and ask him for advice or anything like that. So, yeah, so I'm at that point. So I understand where you're coming from when you say that. So the last time you actually saw your dad, what was that like? What was the last image of him?
I honestly don't even know. 'Cause it probably would have been, I mean, dude, I think the last time I saw my dad was like 2011. I honestly don't even know. I have no recollection of the last time I saw him.
Well, now that you are here, now you're a father, you're a husband, and you've gone through therapy. I personally think all your reactions and all your feelings were completely fair and justified. This version of you, would you handle anything differently? Would you talk to your dad any kind of differently now? Or like, let's say you can go, this version of you can go back to 2011. Are you saying the same thing to him? Are you having the same emotion?
I think, I have this memory. It must have been like 2016. 2016. I have this memory of being in my driveway. I just bought my first house and I was talking to my dad, and I feel like I can't remember verbatim, but I feel like I confronted him a little bit about the way he was living his life. And I kind of feel like he told me to go fuck my dad was the kind of person like to just call you a pussy if you were like trying to be emotional. So I did have a period a few years ago, because I like to think I'm a pretty uplifting person. Like if you're going through something, I like to, hey dude, we can get through this together. And I had a moment where I was like getting a little bummed because I never gave that to my parents. I never tried to give them these tools that I have to help make them see it, how to live a better life. But that was kind of short lived, because at the end of the day, like, they're fucking full grown people, bro. And they made zero effort to improve their life. Like, I'm their kid. Like, I'm not responsible for making them all better. And now I find myself sometimes grieving a life that I was never destined to have anyways. Like you said, like, I can't call, like, there are sometimes it would be so cool to call my dad and be like, hey dude, here's what I'm going through. Can you give me, and that's the kind of shit that, that's the kind of shit that fuels me to be a good dad. Like when Landon is my age, to be able to call me and be like, hey dude, this is going on at work. What should I do? So that's the kind of shit that still hurts me a little bit now, like the dad and the mom that I never got to have, but they were never going to be that they were never going to be that for me. And they could be alive to this day. They would never be that because I'm doing better than they ever got. I've already doubled the life that my mom and dad had, like what am I going to call them for advice for? Like, hey dude, this guy said it's a gram, but it's weighing at 0.8. Like, what should I say? Like, there's nothing that I could call them for. So that's the kind of shit. Like if I could go back in time to 2011, I think that I would just talk to me, not them, and maybe get ahead of some of the shit that I need to work on.
No, that's real. That's real. Well, no, go ahead.
I appreciate the vulnerability and being able to express and get that out. But I do like to say, like, speaking, because we all have something in common with parents being on drugs and things like that. I take pride in who my mother is and who my father is, right? Even though they both have decisions and they did what they did. We come from both seas, the mom and the dad. From your perspective, what is one thing that you feel like you possess is from your mom, and what is something that you feel like you possess that, oh, this is me, but I know that comes from dad? If you had to, if you could point something out from your perspective.
That's a really good question. The one thing that comes to my mind off the bat is my dad showed some kind of entrepreneurial shit in that, and that age from like 8 to 11, where I told you like they kind of got their shit together. I think that was actually like a really critical age for me to see what was kind of possible in life. And that was when my dad had started a little HVAC company, and I went on to be very entrepreneurial, started a handful of companies.
Again, what, can you repeat that? The company, what is it again?
HVAC? You said your dad started an HVAC company.
HVAC?
Oh,
yes,
okay,
HVAC company.
Okay, I just wanted to hear.
The reason why I just got a little frustrated is because here's the thing with me and K Street. His dad is functioning a small business owner
by himself.
I've never seen my dad painted houses sometimes, and that was as far as that ever got. To hear you guys' dad started their own small business while it just is like, come on, man. Craig, dude, you could have did more, bro. Like everybody was out here. You could have did more, bro. I never knew you could own your own small business. Like, bro, you could have gave me something.
Anything is possible. Man.
No, I didn't know that. I was like, oh, if you do crack, you gonna have dirty tan pants and dingy tank tops. You're not starting no business. Your daddy. So I'm sorry to cut you off. Go ahead, man.
I feel like you're doing to your dad like the reverse what parents do to siblings. It's like, look at your brother.
Yes.
Look what was possible.
Katrik's dad is on crack. That didn't stop him, man. Apply yourself.
Yeah, well, what's funny, my dad not only did drugs obviously derail that part of his life, but he stole from everybody. I actually in my garage right now have a bag of stolen goods that he collected over the years that I just somehow have in my possession. Like just like a bag of ripped stamps, like off envelopes. He just stole that from someone for some reason.
It's like,
just
that's hilarious.
I wish I could find out who they belong to and return everything. It's just
that's what I was gonna say. You got to write an apology note to everybody that was stolen. My apologies. Here's your jeans from '89.
Yeah.
In our own
on my
sad
mom's
little
side,
way, that actually sounds sentimental and beautiful. At least you got a memento.
Yeah, I know.
From your dad.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm gonna pass it down from generation to generation. It's like the Jumanji movie where it's beating from the. It's like boom, 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 boom. Like that's it for me. It's like stay away from that. I think on my mom's side, the thing that comes to mind is my mom. She was very romantic in the way of like family, but it was always I'm gonna give the compliment, but it's just in retrospect it was very empty. Like she touted it, but it didn't have the substance to actually hold up to it. And I feel like that emotion from her, I actually channel that now for real into my family.
Dope.
Kind of a practice what you preach kind of thing.
Yeah, that's hard. So I know with me incorporating this stuff into my stand-up, it took.
No, it was funny. We were aligned in that because I was going.
Yeah, that's what. And I guess we can go back to how this originally started. Let's just try to say a short version of how the podcast started.
Yeah.
So it started off, I have this joke where I'm like, my dad was a drug addict, but he was present, and he tried to give me a whooping, and he was like, hey, boy, don't make me take this bet off my arm. Every time I did every time I would do the joke, Striggs would come up to me and be like, you know what? You said your dad is on crack, but you did the belt around the arm like heroin, and I like that. And then he would disappear into the dark. Like every time he would come to me and tell me that. And then afterwards, I was like, you know what? We should do a short podcast. Funny thing, we ended up calling our producer, Joseph. We had him on speakerphone, and Joseph was like, oh man, that's a great idea. I could participate too. My dad was an alcoholic. And then we was like, nah, that's not the same thing, buddy.
You gotta amp it up. You gotta amp it up.
I'm not cool enough anywhere.
But the reason why I say that, with my stand-up, it took me a while to actually incorporate this stuff. And when I was first trying to start doing it, it just felt uncomfortable. I couldn't really find the punchlines or the funny at all. And I watched your sets when we had the show together. How much of this do you actually incorporate into your comedy? I know you said you just started therapy a few years ago. So is any of this in the comedy? Are you planning to do any of this in the comedy?
I'm planning it, yeah. I actually intended, when I first started, I started doing my new hour in December 2025, and it was actually a lot of heavier stuff about I named the tour The Unfortunate Son. It was supposed to be like the genesis of Deric, but they were funny, but it wasn't funny enough yet. Like I myself didn't find the hilarity in it yet, so I kind of put it all away. And right now I have like one joke that I do very rarely, about my dad always calling me to ask for money, and I always tell him to go fuck himself. And then he called me one time, I gave him $50, and then that night him and my mom overdosed on drugs and died. And it kind of takes the wind out of the audience for a second. And I get to be like, I know, I was fucked up too. Cause it's like, imagine me, like all this time, all it took was $50. And like, that's the, like, so, but that's kind of where I'm at with it right now. I'll probably in the next couple of years focus a little bit more on it as I find more funny in it, but it's still sad. Yeah. So I haven't really found all the funny in it yet.
I'll always call it, no matter what it is, because life is comedy, even if it's like somebody with Down syndrome or whatever. But I'm saying it's like
it's a crazy way to open it. Even if they got Down syndrome, dude. Like
he's working on a joke. He wants to test it out. No. He wants to see if we okay with it. That had nothing to do with he was a Down syndrome.
Meaning, no matter what's going on, it's a fucked up funny. Like it can be funny even though it's fucked up, but it's a fucked up funny. So it's like don't keep it in. Get it out because it's gonna help somebody. So that's what I'm saying. Shout out to the Down syndrome.
So anyways, here's my Down syndrome joke.
Yeah. All right, so these two Down syndrome guys are in the bar.
Take out his notepad like, all right, I guess everybody ain't feeling Down syndrome humor. Fine. And you know a thing that I've realized, because I have stuff about my brother as well. He dealt with mental health issues. What I've realized, what has helped me, I admire comics who are able to go through something and while they're actually going through it, get on stage and talk about it. For me, I have to actually gain perspective on whatever I'm going through first. And then after that, when I'm able to see the entire situation from every angle, then I'm able to get to a point where I can start adding punchlines in and everything like that. And I remember having a conversation with a very good friend of mine, and I was talking about how I kind of wanted to add, how I wanted to do jokes about my brother. And then he was like, hey, you don't have to force yourself to do that. Like, if you're not ready to bring that on stage and actually make it entertainment, then just don't do it. Because my thing with comedy, we've all been to open mics where like dudes or people like in general will... You can still hear me, can't you?
Yep.
Yeah. We've all been to open mics with comedy where people will just unload like it's a therapy session with no goddamn intention of making people laugh at all.
You're dark.
Yes.
You're dark.
It's just like, yes, it's dark and that's fine. I believe we can joke about anything. Shout out to the Down syndrome community. We can joke about absolutely anything, but when you're thinking of this joke in your mind, can you think of a part where people are actually supposed to laugh? And if it hasn't gotten to that point, you can't actually hear the laughter in your mind, then you're probably just not ready to do this yet. So
yeah, and I think with like, especially for me anyways, you know, like both my parents, horrific drug addicts, dead. One of the key things of comedy is relatability. Not a lot of fucking people can relate to both your parents dying of a drug overdose. So, you know, that's where it's like,
I don't mean to laugh.
It's hard. No, that is funny, right?
Yeah,
like, I wonder if that's maybe an angle for me to explore. But like every time I try to attack it, I say something and the audience just like, oh, poor guy. I'm like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, I'm not saying this so you can feel sorry for me. I'm not saying this so you can feel sorry for me. No, that's dope. That's dope.
I'll say this, and my brother, he always talks about, like, you know, I'm funny. He's seen my set, but he's my hardest critic too as well. He's like, because I've seen how funny you can be, and he's like, hey man, you need to start talking about more house stuff that you grew up. But as Nate's point, it's like there is a foundation that I want to create before I get into that space, because I don't want my words to give you an actual account of what I went through, but you not be able to understand the message I'm trying to tell you about what it is. So it's like, I don't want, like, when I put that information out, and like one of my favorite comedians, Deric Davis, he always comes out and he says, my mom was on crack. It is, but he has an approach and a message within that. And I was like, I always want to make sure the message is clear, like he said before, because, you know, even though my dad did drugs, I'm open, but he's still my daddy. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I want to make sure he's still being sought in a good light because he's a good guy. He's a good dude.
He's a phenomenal dude.
Yeah.
I've never. It's weird that I'm actually
just does a little
jealous.
crack.
Yeah,
he just
on the weekends. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's just perception. I want to make sure that he did this, but this is not who he is. But this is a part of his life. You know, so he has greater, and he's greater coming out of it. So that's one of the things I say.
Has your dad seen you do stand up?
Yes, he has.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't talk about it.
I didn't talk. No, I made a little joke, but never like a story. You know, like my dad here, y'all, and then keep it pushing, but never like. All right, so I remember I was a kid. My dad, you know, I've never went to that extent yet with him in the audience. But I said to my dad, I said, hey, do you mind if I use the word crackhead when I address certain jokes on stage? And he says, I would like. He was like, what kind of dad would I be to put you through that and not allow you or give you the graces to talk about it? He said,
Wait, what the bro? You have like my dream dad. What are you talking about?
That's exactly what I was about to say. We are the only two people in this circle where you can flex. Yes. We're the only two people you can flex on right now with your dad.
Yeah, so that's the funny thing. And I'm like, by the way, we might be going fishing soon, so if you guys want to come, we can.
Dude, you actually have a dope dad, bro. Like,
literally, that's what I'm saying. He's a good guy, just on the weekends, every couple of hours, you know what I'm saying? He just dabbles. So
how dare you put shame on that man just for having a fucking hobby, brother? Come on.
You seem like the evil one.
He's like, people read, he does crack. Come on, it's all in the good fun.
This is a good man you're tearing down, man. And you know what's and you know what's wild? Derek don't know what that means. He doesn't know where that quote comes from. Anyway, there is. I told you I just talked to my dad for the first time in a few weeks. I actually asked him that would he be okay with me talking about him on stage. And I was like, when I'm doing it, I'm not doing it to like hurt your feelings or to shame you. I'm just telling the things that actually happened. He didn't give me a beautiful, elegant answer, but he was like, yeah, man, that's all right. My dad talks to me like I'm one of the hoes. Like he don't really give me a lot of, he just like, yeah, that's cool.
Give me a lot.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, bet. Like in our conversations, if I recorded our conversations, you would hear I'm doing a lot of heavy lifting, like just all of it. He'll respond sometimes with like longer form answers, I guess when he's trying to make it seem like things aren't that bad. But for the most part, it's crazy. The only time that I've seen my dad actually be expressive with his emotions is when he's drunk. That's the only time I've ever seen him cry or really like
alcohol will do that.
Yes,
too.
or really he treat me like one of the hoes. I'm telling you. He only tells me he loves me when he's drunk.
Yeah.
That's it. I only get physical touch when he's drunk. That's
Long as he
it.
don't try to fuck you. Long as he don't try to fuck you, all right.
Nothing. All right, never mind. I was like, at least you want to see me in person. But anyway, Derek, your dad, this is why I got on this topic. When you eventually, or if you do end up doing material about your parents, do you ever think, obviously they're not going to see it, but do you ever think, is this going to hurt their feelings when I'm doing it? Or do you just feel like, no, I have every right to talk about all of this?
You know, the first thing that comes into my head when you ask that question was that I really don't owe them fucking anything, you know, whether they were alive or not. Like, this is my experience. So no, I don't ever think like, is this going to tarnish their reputation in the drug community or anything like that? I just kind of
don't talk about him. I know your father. He was a good man.
Yeah, he's a good man. No, I really, dude, you know, and keep in mind, you know, I hope I'm always growing and evolving, and who knows who Deric 10 years from now is going to be, and look back on Deric today. But that moment that I had when I told you, like, where I was going to my mom's funeral and all I wanted to do was impress my aunts and my uncles that I hadn't spoken to since I was like 15 years old. I don't ever want to feel like that again. Like, my truth is my truth. And I went my whole life with no one, you know? So now, like, the last few years, I had some people try to, like, reconnect with me. And it's like, dude, literally go fuck yourself. Like, I have my squad. My squad is in my house right now. It's my 3 kids and my wife. Like, those are my those are my people. Everyone else, as shitty as this sounds, is like, it's like, if I have some words to say, I'm going to say the words, dog. And if you don't like them, maybe you shouldn't have lived the life that you lived with me.
Yeah.
So with that, with not only with your wife, but like with women that you have been in love with in general, is it hard for you to show emotion or like love to certain people? Or I know you have the love of your family right now. Is that something you had to learn to do, or?
So I think I had 2 wolves in me. No, I had I had one side.
Pretty sure there's a better way to describe that. But go ahead, Deric.
I had one side from like an emotional connection that I would fall in love real fast. Like I wanted love. I wanted someone to be with. I wanted someone to love, and that, you know, brought me a lot of pain and heartache. And then I had another side of me that I was able to cut people off fucking instantly. Like if I felt, because of, you know, what I went through with my parents and everything, I was like, I'm done. So I think I've leveled those out a little bit. Like I've kind of, you know, sandpapered them down a bit. I would say my wife now she's the first woman that I ever just fully loved with my whole heart and like gave myself to. And it, you know, obviously I've grown a lot over the last 13 years of being with her, but I knew I didn't want to fuck that one up.
Out of all of them, guys, that one. No, that's dope.
Yeah, man.
How has the interaction been with your wife? Like, is your wife has she become close? Like, even though not outside of your mom and dad, has she come close with your other family? That's still, or is it like kind of isolated, or is it like a thing that you have, or?
I'm adopted into her family for sure. Like we spend almost every like major holiday with some form of her family. So that, like, she has a very tight knit family. She has like, I think 4 sisters. You know, her mom's great. So I love her family. On my side of the family, I have a brother and sister. We don't hang a ton. I'm really close with my brother, not super close with my sister. But outside of that, there's a couple of relationships kind of forming, like maybe with some cousins that, you know, later in life we're reforming, but all my aunts and uncles and stuff, like kind of arm's length kind of stuff.
Do you, because you say your wife's family is tight knit, her father is alive? He's there?
No, he passed away, I think maybe a year or 2 before I met her. He was also a dope dad.
Really? Oh my God!
Bring her on.
Did you guys connect off of that? How long did it take for y'all to share that information with one another? Not to share too much information about your wife if you don't want to.
You know, I don't 100% recall like when and how, but I'll tell you, like, for sure back then, you know, I met Brooklyn when I was 23. 23, 24. Dude, I was like literally my wheels had just started rolling in the right direction. So I couldn't have had this conversation with her 13 years ago because I didn't even know what was wrong with me yet. So it was a couple of years in that we realized like we kind of a little bit of the same cloth.
Whoa. Did that make y'all fall in love deeper?
We've definitely gotten more and more in love every year that goes by. Like just understanding each other more, which is cool. Like, for, you know, both of us are just like at the end of the day, like 2 people that have our own fucked up things and had, you know, kind of borderline fucked up childhoods. And we're both just trying to fix that in ourselves. And it's really crazy when you can turn your lens away from yourself and look at someone else as the little kid that they were that just needed someone to love them. It like, there's a love that exists there that like I never even thought was possible. And that's kind of where we're at.
Oh, that's dope, man. So your son is 16. Does he know about this?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
When did you first tell him about any of this?
Well, hold on. I'm trying to think of how much I want to say out loud here. Landon. So, all right. Maybe when he was like 13, we kind of started having some chats about like where what happened with my mom and my dad and stuff, just kind of lightly in that world.
Okay. Do you guys talk about drugs at all?
Yeah, Landon's a super good kid, man. Like he's 16 and a half. He's trying to explore who he is and the kind of stuff that he wants to go and get involved with and what he wants to be when he grows up. He doesn't think about it a ton because he's 16. That's actually been really difficult for me. I had Landon from a previous relationship, and Landon is such a good kid. I sometimes in my head look at Landon through my lens of when I was 16, where it was like, brother, get your shit together or you're going to go be fucking homeless. But that's not his truth. Like he has me and Brooklyn as his mom and his dad. Like he's so safe that he gets to actually be a dumb teenager and it will be generally okay, So sometimes I have to check myself on the way I'm parenting Landon because I'm not parenting a kid that has 2 drug addicted parents that are going to die in the next 7 years. I'm raising a kid that's surrounded by love and support. So that's been cool for me and him. We have a good relationship, me and him.
Beautiful. He's aware of who the king is.
He knows who the fucking king is, brother.
He knows, no question.
All right, so I think we get to a point where we can wrap up a little bit more. Joseph, you got any? You've been writing it. Joseph does this thing.
He has questions. He's a jotter.
We like to keep him off the camera and just be the voice of God. A lot of times he has talking to Joseph is very similar to talking to my therapist because he's also a black man with locks and is emotionally open. So Joseph, have you been taking notes? Anything you want to ask?
I do have notes, and I want to say they keep me off camera because I have a face for radio. Did you have to adjust to your wife's sense of normal when it came to how close her family was compared to yours?
Brother, that is such a good fucking question.
He be writing on that notepad.
It'd be funny if the first thing Joseph said was just like, kill yourself. Yeah, dude, when me and my wife, we were together for less than a year. And when we lived in Florida, and she only had one sister in Florida. Everyone else had lived in other places. But we went over to her sister's house, she's still married to this guy. And I was still very I didn't know who the fuck I was, what was going on. I was very emotional and angry. I had a lot my default to disrespect was almost red fury. And we were at her sister's house, and her sister's husband was kind of trying me a little bit. I was the new guy. And we almost got into a very physical altercation. And we were driving home, and I was telling Brooklyn, I was like, I'll never fucking see that guy ever again for the he can cause me, I was like, he's dead to me. That was that, that I love you or I can cut you up. I was like, I don't talk to my own parents because of this kind of shit. I'm not going to ever fucking see this guy again. And my wife was like, well, I love my sister and I'm I can't not see her ever again. So for the first time in my life, I was confronted with the reality that oh, I got to go see this motherfucker again after that. And, it's been 13 years now. So dude, it took a long time. We were very skittish with each other for a while, but he's just super autistic, I think. And now we're kind of a little bit cool with one another. But yeah, dude, that was the first time that I was like, oh my God, I can't because I love Brooklyn. I was like, I'm not going to leave Brooklyn over this. I'm not going to obviously make it a point till she never sees her sister again. So I was like, I guess I'm just going to go fucking be around this guy.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I got one question because I see the love and the hate, the two wolves. Growing into this guy that you are today, were you ever a guy that, if you said something, I would pop off, or have you been cool, calm, collective, because I feel with the cutoff, I have that in me a little bit as well. I love, but then I'll cut you off and never speak to you ever again. But sometimes when I'm out and about, some people will say stuff, and it's like I'm a cool, calm, and nice guy. I don't do too much back and forth things. But there is a point in time, if it ever goes there, it's like, okay, I have to see red, in whatever realm that is. So for yourself, have you ever been like if we gotta fight, motherfucker, let's get it? Or have you been always like a cool, calm, I've channeled this in, how would you say?
I would say now I'm much more cool and calm, but there was a long time in my life where my fight or flight was only fight. Like I didn't have a flight in me. And I'd fight to the death. Yeah. And I'm like a little dude, so like a real fight probably would be to my death. So that sucks. He's like there. Yeah, I'm not a big guy, but I have a lot of heart.
The club we performed at, you remember the couch in the green room? The way you sat on it with your feet up, I was like, he's comfortable with himself. This is nice. He's showing off the entire height, and it was the equivalent of like a dude sitting in a stool swinging his legs. He was just up there very comfortable on the couch. I don't consider myself like a tough guy by any means, but I've been in a handful of scraps. And I think over the last like handful of years, I've gotten much chiller than I used to be.
That's fine.
There was one time I was high. They say don't get high and look into the mirror. I looked into the mirror once when I was high, and it was the very first time that I saw that I looked like my dad. And it actually scared me a little bit. When you say it's easy to cut people off, is it... Obviously, you don't want to be around somebody that is trying to fight you, but is it a person that puts you in that mode? Does it make you think of all the trauma of your childhood and you're like, I'm going to stay away from this person making me feel that way or reminding me of that feeling?
Yeah, dude. Wow. I like this. I like this a lot. Yeah, dude, of all the times that I feel that anger come through, it's if I feel like someone is trying to assert dominance over me. And I think it does. I think literally that's the moment that I live in, is that moment with my dad that slammed me against a wall and kind of put me in my place and said, you're a little bitch, you're not going to do anything. And then went, and I think that's where I go. And I think that's where a lot of my rage comes from as well. Is like that I almost said wish. Like, I don't wish I could go back to that moment and do anything differently. I think it happened. I'm a pretty big believer of like, it happened exactly the way it's supposed to happen. Like, it all is connected on the journey that I'm supposed to be on. And I'm very happy with where I am today. So I wouldn't go back and change anything. But every major conflict that I can think back where I lost my shit, I think it goes back to that moment of like, who's the king? And it's like, oh, not you, bitch.
When it comes to parenting, and this is a different day and age of kids and parenting, kids have a lot of access. How do you teach your son like emotionally balancing, where he is mentally? Like, how does what you went through and what you see with your son, how do you teach him like to channel his emotions, or when fight or flight instances and things like that? How do you help him with that?
The moment that comes to mind is a couple of months ago, a few kids came by and kind of like pranked our house, like dumped a bunch of leaves on the yard and put a sign up in the front yard, like an old, like a house for sale sign kind of thing, just like some dumb shit. And my son got really fired up about it. He was like, I'm going to fucking find out who did this, and I'm going to fuck you, la, la, la. And I was like, brother, can we bring it down like one notch, please? Like, they put leaves in our yard and put it like it's crazy.
Kids are so lame nowadays.
Like, it's leaves anyway. It's fall. It's autumn. Like,
so I kind of brought him back down to earth, and I was like, first of all, it's my house. Like they did that to my house. I'm, if anyone's gonna be pissed, it's gonna be me. But I just kind of walked them back. I was like, it's not huge in the grand scheme. Now, those same kids came back a few weeks ago and pounded on my door at 1 o'clock in the morning. I'll beat the fuck out of them if I ever see them again. But it's just, I think it's just moments. Like, I think I'm a pretty like in time parent. Like, when things come up, we'll sit down and kind of go through the way he's feeling and stuff like that. But outside of those moments, I feel like that's what I do for him. You just got to be there, like be a lighthouse for him, like in the moments where he doesn't quite know what's next.
Mm-hmm. That's beautiful. You wanted to be the thing that you didn't have.
Yeah, and also like there's been times vice versa where I'm like, beat the fuck out of him. You know, like he's small like me, right? Like he's small. And I know he's going through some of those same things that I went through in high school where people were just fucking bullies and idiots. Like, oh, you little midget. You know, it's like calling names. Mm-hmm. And I tell Landon, I'm like, buddy, listen, I always say, it's like, yo, look at me. Like, your mom's super hot, bro. Like, you know, like, because it's not his biological mom, so it's not weird to say that. But I'm like, yo, like, look at, like, I was like, yo, I tell him, like, I'm 5'7", I'm little, I'm living the fucking dream, bro. I have a beautiful wife, I have beautiful kids, I have a beautiful house, I get a great job. My height doesn't matter. So I kind of put him into that future casting thing, but then I bring him back to today, and I'm like, so Landon, you just got to remember, like, if it gets to the point where they won't stop, beat the fuck out of them, because they'll never say another word to you if you punch them in the face. Or you could just let it go and be like, you're a fucking idiot, and just walk away. But in the moments that you, like, if you ever get to the point where you feel like you can't walk away, just fucking punch them in the face.
That's right.
Live to fight another day.
Yeah. Go ahead, Joseph's corner. Do you have any more?
Yeah, you gave Joseph one question. He's been chomping at the bit, bro.
No, he has
no,
more.
I was taking notes actually, so I'm on the spot. Okay, going back to, I know there's a thing in recovery where they say two addicts should not be in a relationship. Have you correlated the fact that you and your wife having been kids of addicts? Do you think that made it easier for you guys to bond, or was it you think you were brought together by a trauma bond and then you just worked through that after understanding that?
You know, in ways I feel like it was a disadvantage to the way you build a relationship, because we both came with our own layers of trauma and the way we respond to things in life. Where, dude, like, honestly, as an example, yesterday, and me and Brooklyn don't get into it like ever, but yesterday we had like a little moment because we were meeting with my cousin who's doing some like family planning stuff for us. And we'd gone a couple weeks trying to reconnect, and I finally booked a meeting. And it was yesterday, 10 in the morning. And I told Brooklyn at like 9 a.m., like, hey, we got a meeting at 10 with my cousin. And she got a little, like, she didn't feel prepared for it. And in her heart, like, just whatever she went through, like, she needs to be prepared. She needs to be ready. She doesn't want to look like she doesn't know what she's talking about. So she responded to me like a little sharply. And for me, I don't want to disappoint people that love me. So then I got a little pointy back at her. So it's like almost speaking different languages when you're dating someone that has some like deep trauma like you, because like, yeah, you might have the same trauma. Like my dad was a drug addict, but the way that I think materializes in your life is much different for each person, depending on like what part of your life it impacted the most. And I think that's where me and her are learning a lot about each other right now.
I'm trying to let him get his stuff off.
No pause because it's Pride Month.
Okay.
Happy Pride Month, Derek.
I do talk like a therapist. I don't do it on purpose. I promise. When it comes to, I guess, your breakthrough as far as there, I guess you have the acknowledgement of I'm not wired the same as most people, and then the beautiful side of hearing this conversation, of hearing the acknowledgement of how good your life is, your family is, the new family, the healthy construction that you have put together. How often do you reflect on that and just, I don't know, just acknowledge how far you've come to where you are now?
Bask in the ambience of your success.
I think the last year I've looked at it that lens quite a bit. Just kind of acknowledging that I think I spent my whole life running away from a life I didn't want, versus my therapist actually put it a really good way. Like growing up the way I grew up, I kind of orchestrated this life that I wanted that didn't look anything like my childhood, but I found myself in a position where I wasn't living in the life. I was like a puppeteer making sure that the life was perfect, and I was living outside of it. making sure it was perfect. So working and providing and dumping resources into this not imaginary world, but this world that I'd created. So the last like year or so, I'm actually trying to be more in the world versus outside of that world, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm. No, it does. I think that kind of attached to a question that I asked you when I saw you is I admire how somebody like you can have a good following and make a living, and at the same time it's not like if you went to the mall or something you're gonna shut it down or like you're the most famous person in the world, but you're living a life that pretty much every comic are like striving to get. And I think I asked you, because for me growing up, I grew up poor, all these things. The idea of actually making a living from doing this is crazy to me. The money that I'm getting from it now is cool. It helped pay the phone bill, maybe car note once in a while. And I still have a regular job. But I'm imagining if I ever get to that point, if I guess how I grew up will make me not feel uncomfortable, and like the life won't actually last, and at any moment it could fall apart. So I think I asked you if you could repeat the answer that you gave to me. With this life that you've built for yourself, is there any kind of fear that you have that, oh God, what if, I don't know, mentally I get off, or what if this is all false and it all falls apart? What if things go back to being so bad like it was from my childhood? Because right now, your childhood sounds like a fucking nightmare, but it sounds like you're in like you're in heaven right now. Do you have any fear, or are you like uncertain, or do you get scared sometimes that things will get bad again?
Yeah, I think that's kind of like the seed. That's that, like, when I say running away from, like, I think that's what I spent my life, like, that's why I worked so hard, was trying to, like almost like this force was chasing me. Like, I got out of that life and it was like, you can't get the fuck out of here, dude, you're mine. So it's like I lived my life feeling like that was coming to get me. And yeah, dude, like a big part, I would say like one of my biggest roots of anxiety was that, like, this is all a fluke. These people are going to one day realize that I'm just fucking full of shit. I'm not, I shouldn't be here. This was a mistake, an accident. But working in therapy, like, I had kind of a big moment with where this stems from, which is like my parents being addicted to drugs, and effectively, like, to black and white it, they chose drugs over their family. And what I said out loud in a therapy session one time was just simply like, it made me feel like I was easy to walk away from. Like, I wasn't anything that should be like chosen. Like, no, I'm going to be better for you. So I attached that to the success that I found, was like, yeah, cool, I have it today, but I'm easy to walk away from. No one cares about Deric. And I don't want to say it's gone, but I'm starting to kind of categorize it where it needs to be categorized, which is anxiety talking. And obviously, like, I'm not, I don't know what tomorrow brings, but I am just trying to live in the moment of like, this is what I have right now. And if I keep living like that darkness is trying to get me, I'm just going to be fucking sad while I have happiness. And then relieved when I'm fucking like, when the dark, it's like, oh, I knew you were coming, dog. So I've actually been trying to say to myself mentally to stop. Like, I'm not running for, like, to almost turn around and confront it and be like, you're not going to fucking get me, dog. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Go ahead. Joseph's Corner.
I noticed you bring up the therapy, and you sound like you're in a much better place than, I guess, if we would had this conversation 10 years ago. Do you think the therapy is bad for your comedy but good for the man? Because I know a lot of comics, they have a lot of darkness, and it seems like the darker the past, the brighter the future if you can hone it in. And you think therapy has affected your comedy in a negative way?
No, I think it's helped me get better. Because, yeah, like, I hear you, like, if you look at any of the great comedians, it's dark checkered pasts and even dark checkered todays. But I think some of the greatest comedians, I think what makes the greatest comedians, in my opinion, are the comedians that know exactly who they are, because there's.
Yeah, I think he having some connection problems or something.
And here's the thing with podcasts, guys. Sometimes connection happens.
Yo, hey, sorry guys.
No, you're fine.
No,
you're
good,
fine.
you're good.
The question made me so mad I was going to kill myself.
Yeah, no, that was your dad. The ghost of your dad. Right there.
It was like,
Hey, that therapist would be mad. Like, damn, that's client.
to do that without even saying goodbye to us would
Yeah,
be
that
so
was crazy.
rude.
All right, guys.
Not even signing
It's
off.
not
He's like,
cinematic at all. It's not
like, man,
cinematic at all.
you ain't got nothing you want to plug before you fucking before you peace out, man. Come
gotta
on
plug
now.
something, man.
So I'm sorry, you were talking about.
I don't know what the fuck happened.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I said something way beautiful. I'm not going to be able to say it the same way, but no, I think therapy helped me become a better comedian, because it's like my therapy didn't erase my past. It just helped me kind of turn a light on and kind of see what was going on in my heart. So I think it just helped me know myself a little bit better. Not to mention the fact that he helped me quit drinking, which has brought a level of clarity to me when performing that I think only would have been a hindrance as I continued to grow as a comedian. So I think getting to know yourself is one of the biggest gifts you could probably give yourself as a comedian. To kind of, to your point, Nate, like, you know, when you know, like, you're writing a bit and it's just not there, like, you haven't figured out what makes it funny. I think the way to make it feel funny is to know, like, the brain and the voice that's trying to figure out what it is that's funny about it, and, you know, kind of looking in the mirror a little bit.
Yes, I am screen recording. Okay. To wrap everything up, I'm so sorry, Joseph. Did you have anything else? Did you have any more? All right. I'm trying to find a way to end these things, and we've been thinking about doing something where we put links at the bottom of the screen, like for people to get help or anything like that. Yeah. And now I'm thinking, do I want to do a Revs run and do, or remember how Jerry?
Are you gonna be in the tub?
Well, now that you put it that way, no, I can't do that. But did you ever watch Jerry Springer, Deric? And at the end of it, after all of the bullshit, he would have some beautiful message at the end of it. Do you remember that?
Yep.
Okay. So I think that's what I want to do. Anyone who is actually watching this, I hope you guys just didn't see us just laughing the whole time, but it was people actually talking and sharing emotions about something that's a bit taboo. So we want to thank you guys absolutely so much for joining us. Deric, brother, thank you so much. It was a gift meeting you. It was a gift having you here on the pod. I appreciate you sharing all of that you shared with us. I hope to see you sometime in the future, dog.
Also,
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
If there's anything that you want to shout out,
anything
tour
want to plug?
dates, website that people can come follow or get closer with Deric, please put that in so we can, say that so we can record it and, get the word out, please.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I want to say is that I love what you guys are doing, dude. I think this is such a cool concept to talk about, because like no one's really, I mean, I'm sure there's podcasts about drug addiction or whatever, but this is like such a cool perspective, like the children of drug addicts, especially like from a comedy perspective, because I'm a really, really big believer that comedy is the bridge between like I'm going to kill myself and I'm going to be better. And I think this helps you cross that bridge. So when you mentioned like what the premise was, dude, I just thought it was really cool. And just the way we're doing it is really fun. Like it's real. It feels authentic and real and funny. So my shout out is just for you guys, dude. Like, this is great. And you should just keep learning it and tweaking it and figuring out what's going to make it hotter.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, dog. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time for Deric Cahill. One more time for Deric. Thank you for coming. Guys, this has been another episode of Dope Dads Podcast. I've been your host, Nate Allen.
I've been co-host K Striggs, man.
We're not going to forget about Joseph in the corner.
Joe's
We already put
corner
Joseph in the corner. Shout out. We're going to make that a segment, Joseph's Corner. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. All right, y'all boys. We absolutely love y'all. Y'all take care of yourselves. Good night. Good night, y'all. Bye.